what if Mars could be our second home? A planet once filled with raging dust storms, freezing nights, and deadly radiation, transformed into a vibrant, blue world with oceans, forests, and cities under a warm, breathable sky. Sounds like science fiction, right? But this is more than just a fantasy. Scientists and visionaries have been seriously discussing how we could terraform Mars, literally reshape an entire planet to suit human life. But how exactly would we do it? How close are we to making it real? Let's take a deep dive into what it would truly take to terraform Mars. Why Mars? Why not Venus or the Moon? Well, Mars is actually the most Earth-like planet in our solar system. It has seasons, polar ice caps, a 24.6-hour day, and signs that it once had liquid water on its surface. But despite those similarities, Mars today is a cold, dry, hostile wasteland. The temperature averages around -60 degrees Celsius. The atmosphere is 95% carbon dioxide, and it's less than 1% as dense as Earth's. Plus, there's no magnetosphere to protect you from cosmic radiation. Yet, we keep looking to it, because it's reachable, relatively stable, and terraformable. If we could change the conditions on Mars, even just enough to make it slightly more Earth-like, we might unlock a second cradle for humanity and a safety net for our civilization. The first massive challenge: Mars needs an atmosphere. Right now, it's so thin that you couldn't breathe without a suit, and water would boil away instantly. To fix that, we need to release massive amounts of gases to warm the planet and thicken its sky. There are a few wild ideas on how to do this. Greenhouse gas factories. Build giant facilities on Mars that pump out greenhouse gases like CFCs or methane to trap heat and warm the planet. Nuking the poles. Yep, Elon Musk once suggested using nuclear bombs to vaporize Mars's ice caps, releasing CO2 and warming the atmosphere. Space mirrors. Launch massive reflective mirrors into orbit to focus sunlight onto the Martian surface. The goal? Raise the temperature by just a few degrees, enough to trigger a runaway greenhouse effect, slowly melting frozen CO2 reserves underground and in the soil. But here's the thing: even if we pull that off, Mars still wouldn't have breathable air. That's step 2. Once we've warmed up Mars and thickened the air, we'd need to replace the carbon dioxide with oxygen. How? Cyanobacteria and algae. These simple organisms can photosynthesize, turning CO2 into oxygen. We could grow them in vast greenhouses or controlled environments on Mars, genetically modified plants. If we tweak them to survive Martian soil and low light, these superplants could one day grow outdoors and pump oxygen into the air. But even the fastest growing organisms would take centuries, maybe millennia, to change the atmosphere enough for us to breathe without equipment. And let's not forget, Mars lacks a magnetic field, and that's a huge problem. Mars has no global magnetic field. That means deadly solar radiation and cosmic rays constantly bombard its surface. Without protection, humans would suffer radiation poisoning, or even cancer, after long-term exposure. So how do we fix that? Some wild ideas include creating a planet-wide artificial magnetic shield in space to deflect solar winds, underground habitats or radiation-proof domes, at least in the short term, until surface conditions improve, or even jump-starting Mars's core to reignite a natural magnetic field, though that's way beyond current tech. Radiation might be one of the biggest reasons why full terraforming is still a far-off dream. Water is life, and Mars has it, just not in the way we need. There are frozen ice caps at the poles, and maybe even liquid water deep underground. To terraform Mars, we'd need to melt the ice caps and extract water from the soil. Use it to create rivers, lakes, and oceans. Recycle it in sealed ecosystems to support plant and human life. Some researchers even propose redirecting icy comets to crash into Mars, delivering both water and kinetic energy to warm it up. It would be messy, but it might just work. Terraforming Mars isn't impossible, but it's one of the most ambitious projects humanity has ever imagined. We're talking about thousands of nuclear reactors, global-scale engineering, and centuries of effort just to make it barely habitable. But that hasn't stopped us from dreaming. From Elon Musk's SpaceX goals, to NASA's research, to private innovators, the seeds of terraforming are already being planted. And maybe, just maybe, one day, a red planet will turn green and blue. Mars has always fascinated us, a blank canvas waiting for a new story. Whether we succeed or fail, the journey to terraform Mars will push science, technology, and the human spirit to their absolute limits. And who knows, the first people to walk on Mars may already be alive today. Would you live on Mars if given the chance? Let us know in the comments. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more mind-bending space science content. Until next time, stay curious.